Hello there guys, what is going on? SonOfChelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe on this Thursday. Chelsea are in the Champions League final. 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 It's still absolutely surreal. I think settling in for a lot of us and just coming to that reality. You can check out my reaction. I'm not going to call it a rational perspective because that is a bit comedic last night. How can you be rational after your club makes a European Cup final? How can you be rational after this season, after the past year of Mason Mount, an academy graduate, scoring the big goal? Timo Werner finally scoring a big goal for Chelsea in the biggest game of the season. Incredible stuff all round. And this episode is going to just be about the reaction. We're going to focus on some of the key performers, some brilliant articles to come out of the game that I'll go into that I suggest you go and read. The back pages in the UK will start off with that. And also we have to touch on the Madrid meltdown, the media over in Spain, some of the incredible videos that have been released that is focusing in on Eden Hazard at full time, smiling with some Chelsea players. But before we get into any of that great stuff today, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button if you're excited by Chelsea getting to a Champions League final, because it helps out the channel, lets me know you're having a good day. And also, if you want more Chelsea content like this as we get ready for the massive Premier League games coming up against Man City and Arsenal, the FA Cup final following that, and of course the Champions League final that Chelsea now have at the end of this month, subscribe as well and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads on the channel. Don't usually do this on Let's Talk Chelsea, but let's take a look at some of the back pages in the UK. A lack of originality, which is fair enough. They're all going with the full English as the big title, of course, because Chelsea booking their final with Man City, and all Premier League, Champions League final once again, which we did have back in 2019. It could be a complete replica of 2019. Of course, we had Liverpool versus Tottenham in the Champions League final, and then Chelsea versus Arsenal in the Europa League final. We'll find out tonight if that will happen once again. A full English in both big European competitions. Of course, Man United very likely in that Europa League final, but Arsenal, of course, have a difficult second leg against Villarreal. So we'll see if that happens again. And it's a good day, I think, for English football to claim that the Premier League is the strongest league, I think, in Europe. I think the way, in particular, La Liga, I mean, there's still some brilliant teams in the Bundesliga, of course, but I think in terms of La Liga, I mean, the way Chelsea absolutely wiped the floor with not only Atletico Madrid, but also Real Madrid. Chelsea wiping the floor with Real Madrid. What an incredible sentence that is. I don't care if you think that this Real Madrid team isn't the Real Madrid team, of course, a couple of years ago. Just being able to say that we absolutely dominated and brushed aside Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final is an incredible, dreamy statement that is just absolutely mind-boggling to be able to say, and that's how incredible this result is. A tweet here from Julian Arons, and I think I've mentioned this tweet before, but he gave an update of what Thomas Tuchel, the incredible job Thomas Tuchel has done at Chelsea in 4 months. At 4 months, Thomas Tuchel has now beaten Zinedine Zidane, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Diego Simeone twice, Jose Mourinho and Carlo Ancelotti, and without conceding a single goal either in those 7 matches. Just incredible, the defensive improvement, which I think ties into Edouard Mendy, who's been wonderful since signing from Rennes last summer. Liam Toomey talks about the XG aggregate score over the 2 legs per Opta. Chelsea dominating Real Madrid, and the game should have been much more comfortable last night. It shouldn't have been 2-0. It should have been 3, 4 and 5, and that's been a reoccurring theme, unfortunately, this season for Chelsea. And it's one of those things, once again, if Chelsea can get better with their finishing under Tuchel, and this has been a case in the past as well, this team can do some serious things. It really can. And that's going to be, I think, the narrative going into the summer with potentially signing a new striker. Another stat here from Up to Joe. At 22 and 15 days, Mason Mount is the second youngest Englishman to score in the semi-finals of the Champions League after Wayne Rooney. Mount is the first Englishman to score at this stage for Chelsea since, you guessed it, Frank Lampard in 2008. Chelsea as well making history on both the men's and women's side of football. Chelsea are the first club ever to have a men's and women's team reach the Champions League League final in the same season. Got some incredible clips because, of course, Chelsea fans pre and post match were outside Stamford Bridge. Wonderful scenes, because that's one of the things that has been sad about all these big victories. The Atletico Madrid second leg, we've had some big wins, of course, against Liverpool, Man City in the FA Cup semi-final. All those games, I'm like, I wish fans could be inside the stadium. But it was nice to see last night the fans outside the ground welcoming the team bus, supporting the team, showing them support, but also post-match celebrations outside Stamford Bridge. And we saw, of course, Thomas Tuchel fist pumping with the fans, and the fans chanting Tuchel, showing him their love for his work so far. And also my favourite, N'Golo Kante, just casually driving home in his Mini. I mean, Kante, Michael Cox did a brilliant tactical piece once again, speaking about both Kante and Jorginho. Jorginho, his biggest performance for Chelsea, biggest defensive performance for Chelsea. There's so much to speak about with Jorginho. What an incredible night personally for him, and you saw the emotion pouring out of him at full time. Lovely to see. But N'Golo Kante, man, we are just so blessed to have this guy at our club. I mean, I could go on for days about, what he adds to us in our midfield, but all these things we've praised and lauded about Kante since he arrived under Antonio Conte in 2016. But just a privilege to have one of the best midfielders in European football at our club. We're going to be speaking about Kante in terms of football, what he's given to Chelsea and what he's done in his position. In terms of also offensively, once again, I've been banging this drum for years. He is not just a holding midfielder. He has never been a holding midfielder. Even under Antonio Conte, there is so much more to his game, and it's wonderful to see, as Michael Cox pointed out in The Athletic, Chelsea and Tuchel really utilising that to the best ability in Chelsea's biggest game in a number of years. So brilliant. And Liam Toomey's piece post-match in The Athletic as well, Tuchel has made Chelsea a team other sides lose sleep over again. It ended the way so many other victories at Stamford Bridge in recent months, with an understated pump of Thomas Tuchel's fist on a touchline, Chelsea players embracing, and the classic Madness song One Step Beyond blaring over the stadium sound system. But the broadness of smiles underlined this was no ordinary win and no normal step. It was confirmation of a return to elite European relevance and a chance of unexpected, unparalleled glory. Chelsea are Champions League finalists for the first time since 2012. That is a shocking development, because the 9-year path to Istanbul has not resembled the 9-year path from Roman's takeover to Munich, when they were perennial contenders to make a deep run. Really good, I think, piece from Liam that I suggest you go and read. And that is one of the things, and that's one of the things I think that needs to be heaped on to Thomas Tuchel in terms of the praise. I mean, he is doing things at the moment, and I've pointed this out several times, not only in terms of what was going wrong under Frank Lampard this season, but in terms of breaking like 7-year hoodoos. I mean, in terms of the Champions League, not reaching a semi-final since 2014, not winning a knockout tie since 2014. To some people outside the club, this is just sort of maybe a normal thing for Chelsea. But, Chelsea fans and watching the club and analysing the club and knowing what the club has been through in recent years, getting to this stage is a massive development. It really is. And that's what Thomas Tuchel deserves so much praise with, because this squad that he took over, the flaws within it, I think that the feeling of a weak mentality within this squad that wasn't comparable to squads of, say, 2012 to even 2017, but you go as far back to 2005. So it shows what Tuchel has done. Absolutely incredible. Another good piece here in the Telegraph, specifically about Timo Werner. He did not shrivel. He did not hide. This was the night Chelsea's Timo Werner came of age. Yes, Timo Werner. It's easy to forget because, of course, he came off. I think he was one of the first subs we made last night. But him scoring a big goal, I mean, it's a shame he should have kept himself on side because, he was really ruthless last night. Didn't miss any big chances. Of course, he couldn't miss that chance. But wonderful that, in a way, Timo got his Torres moment last night in a Champions League semi-final. Of course, it wasn't the same thing. It wasn't the second goal like Mount got, but it was a big goal in the context of the tie. And I hope Timo now, you think about some recent performances, confidence really building now, and this team all round, Kai Havertz having one of his best, I'd argue his best. I mean, I think that the magnitude of winning a Champions League semi-final and performing there, yes, you could pick out maybe more aesthetically pleasing and statistical, better performances, but the magnitude of this game, the mentality you have to have, the pressure of last night, I think just elevates it to a high level. It's why the 2012 team, is held in such high regard by Chelsea supporters forever, because of what it means to get to a Champions League final. And I think that that's why, for me, Kai Havertz last night as a number 9, completely dominating and bossing Sergio Ramos. I mean, all the influence we felt Ramos was going to have on this tie, it didn't happen. I don't know whether that was because of a lack of fitness, but given his influence in European football over a number of years, Kai Havertz. I think for me, it was watching Kai last night, and he should have scored absolutely. That one-on-one with Courtois, I think he absolutely should have finished. But that performance last night from Kai Havertz, you think about the first goal too, is the reason we got so excited last summer when we signed him from Bayer Leverkusen. So brilliant stuff. I do want to pick up on some hilarious stuff from Madrid though. The complete Madrid meltdown, and this all came from Eden Hazard. It's been called celebrating. I mean, ridiculous. He wasn't celebrating, he was smiling with Chelsea players. And just on this point, I could understand from a point of view as a fan, if one of my players was doing that, but surely there needs to be some nuance, silly me, some nuance in the fact that this Eden Hazard, what he means to Chelsea Football Club, what he did at Chelsea Football Club, how long he was at this club for, that he was, he has special connection to this club, and he will do forever. He will always be remembered, I think, as a Chelsea player. The best moments of his career will always be at Chelsea Football Club. So that was just a bit silly for me, but the meltdown on some of the TV shows over there, the punditry, was incredible. I have to be honest, I don't have much sleep because I was up until quite late watching some of these shows and the clips that were filtering through over here. Wonderful stuff. I'll give you some clips now because they are absolutely hilarious.
El Madrid eliminado y Hazard partiéndose la caja.
En Hazard sin creerlo. Sin creérmelo, por una cuestión de fe.
¿Cómo?
Si es que tiene razón. ¿Cómo no va a cantar lo de las hamburguesas?
El Chingarito, I think, was one of the big channels there, the funny sort of show that looks like some sort of form of a fan channel on Madrid TV, the dramatic music. I mean, it's the cuts, the pans. As a film student myself, I loved some of the cinematography there, to be honest. It was peak art, it really was. So I definitely suggest go and find some more of these clips because it was incredible stuff. And just some of the media speaking about Eden Hazard and the reaction to Eden's decision to, in front of the camera, smile with Kurt Zouma, who was clearly one of his mates at Chelsea, and other Chelsea players too. AS said Hazard didn't do anything. He ended his dreadful night with giggles, hugs and jokes. What are you laughing at, Eden? Marca, of course, another big Madrid paper over there focusing on Real. Total disappointment, showing no signs of life. His popularity is at rock bottom. And El Chingarito, the clip I showed you, Hazard can't stay 1 second longer at Real Madrid. And the politics of Real have always been one of those things that when Gareth Bale went over there, it's always been one of those confusing things for me when, Bale scoring Champions League winners, he would have been immortalised at other clubs for doing those things, but not Real Madrid. It's a strange club. And yes, Eden's had major problems, mostly injury problems. It's been really sad to see what's happened to Eden Hazard. I adore Eden, and yes, one of my instant reactions was they were saying, let's sell Eden Hazard this summer, and I was like, can we have him back, please? Of course, that's a little bit silly, and yes, his time has passed at Chelsea Football Club. They're a shadow of their former self since Cristiano Ronaldo has left. They don't have those inspirational figures. Zidane was outfought tactically twice against Thomas Tuchel. Chelsea, despite maybe you'd look at that midfield, which is still a wonderful midfield, Kroos, Casemiro and Modric, were absolutely outdone by Mason Mount, who dropped back at times. Of course, N'Golo Kante and Jorginho. Don't think many people would have predicted that, even myself, confidently a couple months back. But it shows you the importance of tactics at this stage and the importance of a unit, a collective unit, and Real Madrid focusing too much on individual brilliance. I have to say, Madrid are lucky to get to this stage because they were absolutely dreadful in the group stage. They probably should have been knocked out in all truth. They were awful in the group stage and very lucky to get to this stage, and they were absolutely done by Chelsea last night, and it should have been much more than 2-0 in the end. Those are my thoughts on the game, and I just want to do this for selfish reasons. I'm going to put the graphic up. On Sunday on Let's Talk Chelsea, I spoke about the run-in, and this was following Fulham. I spoke about the Premier League games. Of course, I talked about the Champions League semi-final, and I said, there could be this magical extra game in Istanbul. Well, now here is the graphic for you guys. This is the run-in for Chelsea. Of course, we play Man City on Saturday evening. Going to have my preview for that game tomorrow. Going to be quite strange, of course. Dress rehearsal in some kind for Chelsea and Man City in the Champions League final away from home on Saturday evening. Then we have Arsenal in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge. Then we have that massive FA Cup final against Leicester, where Chelsea can win potentially one of 2 trophies this season, but massive game that. And then, of course, we have Leicester again in the Premier League. Massive, I think, top 4 deciders decided there. Then Aston Villa on the final day of the Premier League season. But now we can add another game to the list. Chelsea's season will now officially end on May the 29th, where Chelsea could pick up their second European Cup. I mean, mental, it really is. I'm still lost for words, trying to sort of summarize. I think like a lot of us trying to sort of gauge this. And before I do wrap up, I asked you guys on my channel to give me some of your comments, which I will read out now. Some of you guys very kind to give your comments on the community page. Just to read a few of them out. Matthew says here, it's actually mind-blowing when you think that Mount defensively pocketed a Ballon d'Or winner and got the better of him going forward in both legs. The guy is 22. Couldn't speak more highly of him, and so happy he's proving me right. Elroy says it was great to see the spirit of the team so strong and united. It really feels like we have something special here. What a time to be a Chelsea fan. Come on, you Blues. Abed says, when you see your team playing and fighting like this, you have to get chills and be proud. If you're not, you don't have the emotions that football is spreading. Much love from Austria. Thank you, mate. But we still got some big games. I mean, this is the thing. It's so intense this season, but when you win games like that, I just hope, a bit like the women's team. You know, I saw the women's team. They are like 1 point now away from the WSL retaining that league title, and they very professionally, after the emotions of Bayern Munich, went and just got the job done against Tottenham. It's of course a bit different against Man City, who of course could win the Premier League title this Saturday, but Chelsea need to refocus now, and that's what they've done under Thomas Tuchel. And what I've said consistently is I back Chelsea in big games, and they all are big games now, even if they're not against the top sides. I mean, you think about it in the league, Man City obviously going for their Premier League title. Arsenal, though, is a massive game, and I think we could have fans inside the bridge for that game. Leicester in the FA Cup final, Leicester again in the Premier League, Aston Villa, that could be a decider on the final day, and of course Man City. Let's see what happens. A few months back, it was ridiculous to think Chelsea could get to a Champions League final. We're there now. We are within 90 minutes of European glory, and as well could have an FA Cup and the top four secure. What an incredible few weeks it's been. What an incredible few weeks it could be on this channel. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Have a great day. Going to be back with more videos soon, and I'll see you again.